So then, given that Project Horizon is still yet to break ground, and a lot of people have been speculating as to whether this means there's a delay for the project, whether it means even more than that, or whether it's just planned already, I thought why not make a video on it, because it's something which I've been pondering on the thought of over the last few days, and thought why not make a video of what I think could be happening with this. Now, something that I want to stress, this is purely what I think could be happening with this project from the information that I've gathered from watching other people's videos on it as well, which have been very well made, and I'd definitely recommend going and watching those as well, because a lot of people have a lot of inside information. You can see things that I obviously didn't know originally, and I've also been reading online documents and sort of reading into the original planning document that was submitted to the council and sort of seeing what I think is happening with this project from what I know from it. So yeah, please do take what I say with a pinch of salt, because it's not guaranteed. I'm not an engineer at Alton Towers and I don't build rides for a living, so I cannot give you a confident answer saying this is exactly what is happening. It's just what I would assume is happening from the information I know, and a lot of the time the stuff that I predict can be wildly inaccurate, so please do bear that in mind. So then, I'll start off just to catch people up who didn't know what's happened already with this project. Back in November of 2022, a full planning permission document was submitted to the Staffordshire Moorlands District Council outlining what we know now as Project Horizon, and it showed a massive show building with a large queue line and an area around that which would be located in the coaster corner area of the park, which is an area of the park which used to actually have rides there but has been used for storage for a lot of years. And if you're unaware of where that is, it's sort of around where the Dungeons is, just next to David Walliam's world. And this show building amazed people because it is so large that it could fit the Smiler within its footprint, and got people very excited to see what would be happening with this project, and excited to actually see this project progress at Alton Towers. And because of the size of this show building, people very quickly assumed that it would be an indoor roller coaster, myself included. And if you need a comparison, I'm sure you'll know of the black hole that used to be at the park, and there's many indoor roller coasters in the UK. You've got the Walking Dead and so many more. Yeah, just a roller coaster within an enclosed show building. And as well as this, there was an additional building attached on the front of that show building, which can only be assumed to be used as, I don't know, gift shops, batching areas, it could be anything really. But not long after this document had been submitted, obviously objections and things have to come through, and improvements that have been suggested to that document through different assessing members for the Planning Permission Committee put forward some issues, such as the drainage strategy for this project had to be updated and adapted, which is something which is actually quite common. I'm sure you will remember that the same thing happened with Project Exodus, obviously for different reasons, but it's normal for planning applications to very often have to make small little changes after having it assessed by the committee. But that was recommended to be changed, and there was also, as I'm sure a lot of people remember, some objections made by local residents due to concerns such as the noise that this would produce, because it's a large show building which we assume to be hosting a large-scale roller coaster. Is it going to be really noisy for local residents? As well as that, they objected with fears of it being an eyesore to the local area, as Coaster Corner is a part of the park which is on the edge of its boundary, so you'd be able to see it from outside the park. Essentially, that the park also responded to these, well, not responded, it was kind of outlined in their document, but the show building had already been reduced in height a little bit to cater so that it wasn't an eyesore from outside of the park, and they showed images with concepts of what the show building would look like, showing that you wouldn't be able to see it from outside the park anyway, which was very good to see. After this, a lot of people, I'm sure you remember, were very nervous as to whether it would be approved, because it was such an incredible thing to see come to the park, but there was also that bit of there has been objections made, so what's going to happen? As I'm sure a lot of you remember, and we were all very happy to hear, planning permission was given in February of 2023. So I am just checking, I took down some facts which I've read offline to make sure I don't get the major bits wrong, because that would be very bad. It did state in this document that construction was estimated to start in spring of 2023, which we now know it hasn't, which is where obviously people started to speculate and see what was going on with it. And the reason that people have sort of been speculating about the ride's opening date is because it was estimated to start in spring of 2023 so that it could open for 2025, or the 2025 season. And I think, yeah, the construction time alone is 78 weeks, and the entire project duration from obviously breaking ground, because you have to get the ground ready before you can put some foundations in and build up from it, I think was 2 years, from obviously the first day of starting to obviously get the ground cleared and get everything ready to testing the thing ready to open. If it was in early 2023, 24, 25, it would be ready for 2025, but it hasn't, which makes people think that although the park stated it would be ready for 2025, will it? And that's essentially what I'm going to go through in this video. And now that we're essentially kind of caught up, I'll go through what I think is actually going to happen with this ride and why we are seeing this project progress in the way it is. And obviously the reason why I think that construction hasn't commenced yet is because if you think since this application was submitted, we've obviously had the Skyride as of last season, had to close and was confirmed to not be continuing operation for the duration of last season. We've had Hex has had similar issues and was very much an issue for the park. They had to close it and said we're not going to open it for the rest of the season. As well as that, we've had Nemesis, which is a massive project, and with projects that large, things can go over budget. Now that is just a thing of it could have. I've not got any evidence to suggest that it will have, but all I know is that projects that large can very easily have unseen costs, or even things that essentially didn't go to plan and they've had to put more money into it, or even they've decided to adapt things while under construction and put more money into it. That can always happen with things, especially a retrack of a ride which the park is taking so much detail in. It's something highly possible, because by the sounds of what we've heard, it's going to be a completely new area for Forbidden Valley. That's not going to be cheap. And as well as that, Bianca Summer also confirmed that the park is looking to install permanent flat rides in the park, which was great news to everyone. But obviously all of these things cost money, and that money's got to come from somewhere. And that's essentially what I think is the main reason for this project being delayed. I don't think it's anything as dramatic as I thought initially when I heard this news. I think it's more that the park has decided to wait a small amount of time with the construction of Project Horizon to put a little bit more funding into things a little bit more short term, in that they need to get rides back up so they're available, because you need your attractions to be open. So get the Skyride fixed and get Hex working again, and possibly invest in flat rides at the park, which I'm pretty sure was last week's video, which was probably wildly inaccurate, but that's my trend for this channel clearly. But yeah, and I essentially think that's probably what has happened. Now I do have to say, I don't think that this project is going to be delayed by very much. And because of this, I think that construction will start to commence either spring 2024 or mid-season 2024. I'm not sure of the two. I think it'll be more towards mid-season, because I think there's a lot that the park is improving and is going to be spending money on. And I just personally, for some reason, can see it more reasonable than starting it sort of mid-season 2024. And because of that, I obviously can see construction finishing, because of their estimate of their project duration, mid-season 2026, with this ride hopefully opening possibly for the summer of 2026. Because obviously if construction starts between spring and mid-season, it will be finished between spring and mid-season. And I don't think that that's personally a bad thing, because when you consider next season, which will be the 2024 season, we've got Nemesis reopening after its retrack, with most likely, from what we've heard at the minute, a very different Forbidden Valley area of the park. We've got improvements that the park are clearly trying to make within things in-house, and I think a year's breather in between these attractions opening, because obviously 2024 Nemesis, 2025, which was when the document originally highlighted opening, which it doesn't look likely. I could be wrong, by the way. Please do bear in mind this is just my predictions, but obviously 2025 with nothing, then Project Horizon opening for the summer of 2026. I'd love to know what you think. This could be completely off. I've just gone from information I've seen online and sort of crafted my own opinion from that, because I think that's the best thing to do, is challenge your own thoughts that you were thinking towards things. Because initially I was being quite doom and gloom, going, oh no, what's happening? Oh, what are we going to do? Is the project going to go ahead? And then I was looking into what other people have been saying and actual details of this project, and have kind of thought, actually, now I've looked into it further, this seems a lot more logical. So please do let me know what you think about this. When do you think it will open? What do you think could have been the other reasons why the project hasn't broken ground yet? Thank you for watching. I think this is going live just before New Year, in between that Christmas and New Year period. I hope you had a lovely Christmas, and I hope you have a happy New Year. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one next year.